Bankole, how are you?
I am very well. Hi, Muhammida.
Okay, great. That's great. I'm looking forward to this session myself.
Me too. Looking forward to an interesting conversation. Yeah.
Yes, that's great. That's great.
Okay.
I wasn't familiar with SOAR before, so I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I'm into. So I'm like, yes, I'm the right person
Oh,
for
are you
this.
serious? You're really fascinated about the mind?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So what do you do?
I run a digital marketing and PR agency in Accra.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
should check out you're on Instagram, right? Just to
Yeah.
confirm, are we live? I just need to verify.
I know. Let's see. I know. Um, let's see. No one has told us that it's live, but the time is. It said
Yeah.
5:05. Okay.
Okay, Rachel, I
Rachel.
see her comment.
Yes,
Rachel says we're live.
started and the recording has started. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can. I can see some of the comments.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I'm going to leave the room,
Okay.
but you are live and you can continue with the session straight away.
Okay. Great. We'll jump right in. Thank you. Okay. We were doing a little chit chat there. So, that's pleasantries. I want to thank everyone for joining us today for the 10X Thrive Conference. Global is Understanding the Science of Astounding Results, SOAR. Every time I say that, I feel inspired. So I'm really excited to get into this discussion with Bankole Williams today. Just a few notes. We have, if you want to join us, join the conversation on Twitter, please use the hashtag 10X Thrive. You can place your comments in the chat on this platform here on the, I think it's on the right-hand side. But I will say, if you have any questions at the end of the discussion, if we have a few minutes, we will answer a few of your questions, but please put those in the Q&A so that I don't have to go through all the chats to find your questions. Okay, so let's just jump right in. Today, our speaker is Bankole Williams. He is a multiple award-winning management consultant and peak performance coach. He's a renowned force in consulting and has helped no less than 12 prominent banks in Nigeria develop and deploy solutions for long-term profitability and sustainability. He is the founder and principal consultant at LYD Consulting, which provides consulting interventions for banks and other leading corporate organizations in Nigeria. Please welcome Bankole as he joins us to share insights on his groundbreaking concept, the Science of Astounding Results, SOAR. You can tell I get excited every time I say it, right? And we can all learn how we can leverage it to achieve success and thrive in all aspects of our lives. Bankole, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be here today.
Yes. So I want to just jump right in. I want to understand a little bit more about this term, the Science of Astounding Results. Tell us a little bit about this concept and how we can relate it to our everyday lives and our quest for success.
Beautiful question. Well, it's an interesting acronym, the Science of Astounding Results. And I think everything for me just really began in 2020. 2020 was a very interesting year for everybody across the world, right? And somewhere in the midst of all of that crisis, I was going through my own motions with my emotions at the time. October 2020 was particularly a very interesting period in my country, right? There was just a lot of toxic, negative energy in the air. Right. And I was really curious as to how to navigate, how to, get out of that particular state to still, be able to live successfully and, produce certain kinds of outcomes in my life. And I began to receive some measure of insights as to how things work and how the world was changing, right? And how the currency of the world was basically changing. So with the virus, with COVID and all of that, I realized that the currency that we knew, which was money, was not as relevant because even wealthy people were dying to the virus, right? And I realized that the currency of the new dispensation is what I call energy, right? And why do I say so? The virus does not respect how much money you have in your bank account, doesn't respect your name, your status, doesn't respect how many degrees you have. It only respects energy, and energy being your immunity. So your energy, the energy of the cells to fight, the virus, right? And I began to study that concept, the concept of energy. And I realized that, a lot of us have been over the years made to believe that certain things need to happen externally to impact on the states that we have internally, right? So with all the toxic negative emotions people were dealing with, people failed to realize that they had the capacity to change their emotional states. And when they change their emotional states, they are able to change the world around them. They're able to manifest certain kinds of results and outcomes in their lives. So I just really began to study what I call or consider the inner world, the world that very few people talk about, right? And as I began to study it and experience, that inner world, I saw how it was impacting on my external world, impacting on my results, right? And I thought to myself, this is amazing. All my life, I have always been taught to react, to respond, to live from outside in. So something needs to happen on the outside to alter the state on the inside, whereas the original design is for it to be the other way around, right? And I was like, you can't see a storehouse of wealth, of abundance, and keep all of that to yourself, right? And I just wanted to share this information with the world that there really is a law that, or is a set of laws that a lot of people tend to despise, that can be responsible for producing not just regular results, but the kinds of results that will really astound not just the individual, but even their loved ones and people around them, right? So all that was born out of my own personal experience and my own discovery on this wealth of knowledge that I think can really transform people's lives.
Wow. So the concept itself is not new, but the way you have coined it and put this name on it, that is fairly new. Yeah,
it is.
So as you mentioned, most of us are kind of conditioned to believe that we are victims of circumstance. And as a mind coach, what role does the mind actually play in our lives and our success? Yeah.
The mind is the center of everything. It is the heart of every single outcome that you see on the outside, right? And I think a lot of people live very mindlessly, and so things happen to them, and they wonder how those things happen, and they fail to realize that somehow, some way, their minds could have been responsible for producing those kinds of outcomes. So it is the seat of every single thing. It's the software, the operating system that runs this machine, right? The person that I'm seeing right now is not Muhammida, right? That's the casing, right? There's someone on the inside, right, that has a mind, that has the capacity to create things that will lead to results. So it touches every single ramification of our lives, every single dimension of our lives, whether it's your financial life, your spiritual life, your physical, your health, well-being, right? Your mind plays a significant role. If you say to yourself, for instance, you want to go to the kitchen in your house, you're going to first of all see an image in your mind, and then your body follows the direction of the image in your mind, right? So the body always goes in the direction of the mind. The same way the results that you attract will go in the direction of the status of your mind, right? So the mind plays a significant role in determining the results, the outcomes that we manifest in this plane that we find ourselves in. So if you really want to produce really great results, then you have to understand how it works. You have to understand that there is a science behind, the principles that govern, its production of certain kinds of results. And it's important to understand the universal laws that God has himself instituted that would ultimately determine whether you're able to produce certain kinds of manifestations in your life.
I know it sounds so simple, but I'm sure that's just like, for many people, it's a difficult concept just to even accept, because we're so used to thinking that, things from outside have more power than ourselves. So moving on, I want to just find out, we're in an age where things like money and degrees and, all these things, possessions, determine what's success. Now, when we're tapping into the power of our minds, what should we be focusing on exactly? I mean, should we be focusing on those material things, or, what exactly should we be focusing on?
So, like I mentioned to you, when I had my experience, I realized that there was a world on the inside that very few people talked about, right? And with everything that was happening, a lot of us were struggling internally, right? People were dealing with a lot of emotions. Some people were numb, some people were angry, some people were depressed, all of that. So the inner world, was not at peace. Something going on there, right? And people didn't know how to deal with it. So a lot of people were reacting. So this is the paradigm that a lot of people have. This is the way they've been trained to, whether consciously or unconsciously, to believe that the world, the world operates. They see something happen on the outside and something happens externally, and it should alter the world on the inside, or alter the state within, right? And that causes people to consistently, perpetually be chasing external things. So I'll give you a very typical example, right? The average person wants to experience some measure of prosperity in their lives, so they want to make some kinds of money and stuff like that, which is great, right? So for instance, if I gave you the keys of a dream car for maybe a G-Wagon, I don't know what a dream car is, right? And if I give you the keys of that car, you take that, right? Everybody will take that. Maybe not everybody. If I give you the keys of that dream car, right? You're going to get excited, right? You're going to get happy, and something's going to happen internally. So what happens internally, which is what I want to be able to help people understand, is that the brain releases a chemical called dopamine. Now, dopamine is the pleasure hormone, right? Dopamine is released in your brain, and then you enjoy, you relish that moment, knowing that you have your dream car. Now, the interesting thing about dopamine is that it's the pleasure hormone, but it also has its downsides, right? In the sense that, when dopamine is released, right, it has a thing for degenerating the receptor sites in the brain, right? So what that invariably means is that, if I give you the keys of that dream car right now, you're going to get excited. But for me to produce that same level of excitement, I have to give you a bigger car, right? If I give you that same car again, you're not going to get as excited, right? So because of this effect, people are consistently on a chase. So I give you that car, to produce that same level of excitement, I need to give you a bigger car. You get the bigger car, to produce that same level of excitement, I have to give you a house. To produce that same level of excitement, I need to give you a private jet, right? So people, without knowing, consistently are looking externally, right, for certain kinds of things to begin to happen in their lives, right? Now, if you consistently look externally, you're going to perpetually be on a chase, right? Now, if you're always chasing external things, then it's a chase that really has no end. So we've been made to believe that something on the outside needs to happen to alter the world on the inside. But what if we flip the script, right? What if we recognized that we were the architects of our own destinies, we're the creators of our own realities? We don't always have to respond or react to circumstances and situations. What if we understood that we could take charge of our inner world, the realm of our thoughts, the realm of our feelings and emotions, and with some level of creativity, right, we're able to create certain kinds of outcomes and attract them in our direction and ultimately manifest them? I think that would be a better paradigm to live from, right? So rather than, like you rightly said, paying attention to a lot of all the external things, right, and consistently chasing those things, what if you paid attention to the world within, right? I do believe that you would not just be chasing, but you literally become a magnet. Some of those things will just find their way to you, or you'll be able to manifest them with ease, as opposed to, that persistent hustle and struggle that a lot of us have believed is the pathway to the desires that we have.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, this is powerful stuff. I mean, it's as simple as it is, you know what I mean? When you start to apply it to your lives, I know that you have witnessed, I'm sure yourself and many other people, the astounding results that have happened. Now, just looking at give us 3 major habits that we can, implement from SOAR, that we could implement into our lives right now, today, to take charge of our reality.
Beautiful. So the first one is silence, right? And I think that there's very little conversation about silence. Most people think, I was having a conversation with someone, and the person was telling me, Bankole, how do I just stay silent? How do I focus on nothing, on being still? So she said, I have a mind that is very, very active. So if I don't fix my mind on something, right, some other thing is going to come as a distraction, to just get my attention, right? And her understanding of silence was that silence was empty, right? Silence was a void that could easily be filled by some other distraction. No, silence is not empty. Silence is full, right? It says empty barrels make the loudest noise, right? So loud barrels, right? Or no, empty barrels make the loudest noise. The same way loud noise makes empty barrels, right? So noise actually is an indication of emptiness, right? Silence is full, and I can explain. Right there in the room that you're in, Muhammida, there are God knows how many thousands of waves that exist in that room that you're in, right? You don't see them, you don't hear them, but they are there. Right? If you get a radio station, a radio, right, and you tuned and you adjusted the frequency of the radio, you're going to tune into the frequency of information that already exists in that room that you're in, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that in that seeming blank space, there is information. So silence, right, carries waves of frequency, right? And frequency carries information. Now, what am I trying to say? When you are still, you give yourself the opportunity to be able to access a realm of information, a realm of knowledge that is beyond this natural 3-dimensional plane that we find ourselves in, right? And a study was done in Harvard, and they said, you either stay silent and be with yourself for a couple of hours, or would electrocute you, would give you like a bit of electric shock. Right. So pick one. Stay silent with your thoughts, right? Or would use that equipment to just induce a bit of shock. Do you know that majority of people picked, going through that pain or being electrocuted temporarily, right? And it just goes to tell you that most people, right, would rather be electrocuted than remain still with their thoughts. And And these are the realities. We're running away from what exists here. And what I'm trying to say is, if you practice being still, you are able to dispel and release some of the emotional legacies that hold you back, that hold you from being the highest, grandest, best version of yourself. So silence is definitely something that I endorse. Spending time with yourself, just being alone, you receive some level of direction and inspiration. I think that sometimes some people are afraid of what they'll find, which is one of the reasons why I think it's advisable to have coaches, therapists who can help you resolve some of these challenges that you face. So that's definitely one habit. The second one I would say is
I'm totally sorry. We are almost out of time. We have one question here, so maybe you can answer that, and then if you can, probably definitely share all your socials so that people, if they want to get a mind coach and understand the science of astounding results to the next level, they can reach out to you. But let's see if we can get this question in. It's what practical steps can we take to identify and attend to the world within? So you were kind of touching on that. So that is a question that we have here. What practical steps can we take?
Okay, so back to what I was saying silence, right? A very simple practical step could be, you want to pay attention to the times of the day when you are most suggestible, right? When you can actually access your inner world a lot faster than regular times of the day. And there are 2 times of the day that are very simple. The first one is just before you go to bed, and the second is first thing when you wake up in the morning, right? Your conscious faculties are not as active, right, when you wake up in the morning. So first thing in the morning, the habit that a lot of us have is that we pick up our mobile devices, right, unconsciously. A good percent of the people by default do that, right? So their fingers have already mastered the position of certain applications, and they go there by default. Now, without knowing, they're already programming themselves to live from outside in because they're dependent on something external, right? But what if you started your day understanding that the first 20 minutes of your day is brain time, right? And you started your day with a pen and a journal. What if you started your day with closing your eyes and practicing stillness? What if you started your day with visualizing, right? If you don't start with a deliberate design of your future, you default into the repository of your past. What that means is if you don't close your eyes and intentionally create, what your day is going to look like and determine, how greatness will show up in the course of the day, you're going to default into the person that showed up yesterday, right? So practice doing that first thing when you wake up, last thing before you go to bed, review your day and end your day with gratitude. And I think that way you'll be able to communicate a lot better with your inner world.
Wow, thank you. Even those few steps, like I said, some of this, people are like, oh, I know that, yeah, but you're not doing it. So let's definitely want to incorporate some of those things into my own life and daily practice. Bankole, please share with us where people can find more information about you, the work that you do, and SOAR.
Fantastic. So my Instagram handle, I'm very active on Instagram, is @I am Bankole. So IAMBANKOLE. I am Bankole. Right. So there's a lot of information on my page. There's a link in my bio that shows all the information regarding the Science of Astounding Results and how you can become part of that community.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to thank everyone who has also joined our session on understanding the science of astounding results, SOAR. If you want to comment or chat about our session today on Twitter, please use the hashtag 10xthrive. My name is Muhammida El Muhajir. I don't even think I introduced myself at the beginning. I'm joining from Accra, Ghana. I'm the Director of Strategy at Wax Print Media, and I'm on Twitter as well at Wax Print Media. So thank you everyone for joining us. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day. You're inspired. You're on your path to success onto the year of thriving. Thank you, Bankole.
Yeah, thank you for having me.